It rained tonight, so you
Uh,
might hear that.
that's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back tonight. I hope all is well. Um, title tag for tonight is Disclosure Day, but it's going to be a very active topic tonight. Um, I thought I was going to talk about an old story I did, and apparently it's not online. I don't know what happened to it. And it's one I never told Tuck. It's the Holy Cancer Society, and I think it was based on a sermon I did what feels like 100 years ago, and I really break it down. Now I'm not going to do a video on it tonight. But I am going to talk about some aspects and key targets there that I think are interesting. And if there's some interest in wanting to see a video on this, now it's while it does touch briefly on some religions, it's not really um, the use of the word holy is very liberal, I guess you would say. But
It's intentional.
yeah, it's intentional. You know, things we worship, things we we'll touch on that a little bit. But
Dogma.
but like I was saying, is if you're in like certain places, I mean, I have a tester group, and I can help you there. It ain't no big deal.
I'll be in New York around July 20th.
Yeah, you'll have plenty. You'll have I have a whole slew of fucking contacts up through there. So
Hey, do you have contacts that will be able to help me with Sam as far as this walk? Because it
when,
would be nice to have somebody, because like I can walk her about 10 miles, and then somebody's gonna have to like, give her a ride up the final 10 miles, because we're doing like 18 and a half miles a day, over 5 days. And so we're going from Philadelphia to, I believe we're stopping at Elizabethtown, taking the RV and going to New York, and then doing the final walk. And I can walk Sam all the way in that last day, as long as I have help throughout the way. That's my struggle, and it may hamper whether or not I actually get to do this great walk. And as the lead walker, and what we do here, it would be a great media event. But
I
I
mean,
need I need somebody to help carry Sam along the way.
I don't have somebody that's going to be able to follow the walk, but I mean, I might have somebody that would be in.
Yeah, just come pick her up, and then once
Yeah,
we get to the site, come drop her off.
yeah. I mean, I can probably do something like that maybe. Remind me, and we'll try to figure out where you will be, and see how close who is close to that area.
Yeah.
So I
Well, I've
don't.
already got the cities. Whenever you're ready for them.
Okay,
So
well, remind me either tonight or tomorrow, probably.
tomorrow,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we'll figure that out because I don't want to send somebody fucking 3 hours away and got to come there and do that and go up and everything else, and it might not even be something on their radar. Um,
Yeah. I mean, all I really need him to do is hold on to Sam for about maybe 3 or 4 hours. Because, I mean, that's about how long it's going to take us to do the remaining, like, 8.5 miles.
you know what's weird? A lot of like the weed contacts and stuff. They're actually like modern day religious Christians. I mean, they have like these Christian schools and shit. They do. And I did not seek them out for any reason, but man, there is a whole lot of people doing weed.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is wild, and you don't realize that until you actually get in to some degree of the business, and you start looking and talking, and you seeing the different people, the different classes of people that use weed, and the kinds they use, and it is a more complicated industry than I gave it credit for. You know, back in the day, you'd grow it, you'd sell seeds in the back of magazines, and hand the weed out to your buddies or sell it, and keep your grow going. But for the most part, if someone's wanting to grow, I mean, you can do it affordably at home, and you can do it to support your grow, more or less legally. And you do it right. If you're doing some wild shit, dropping pounds on the street and everything else, you're probably going to get a knock. But for the most part, people can make an honest living doing this, and a lot of cool people.
Yeah, my neighbor in Arizona, he runs a medical farm. We've talked about him becoming a caregiver, and as a caregiver, he gives me 2 pounds a year. My mom only got a pound a year when in Oregon from her caregiver.
Man, back in
And
the
then
day, the vets. This is when the government was test rolling a few programs. We had this guy that was a Vietnam vet that lived beside me. And I go up there and talk to him all the time. And we smoked hella weed up there in his trailer. He couldn't walk. He's disabled. I mean, like I said, he took shrapnel to his spine. I mean, he was old dude. All his buddies are gone. So the people who would visit him, would be his brother, which would normally bring him his stuff, or doctors or nurses. And he lived simple too. He was hardcore simple man, and us kids that lived around that were like marijuana, and but we smoked a lot of weed there. Yeah. Anyway, he used to get these bottles from the government, and they would come, and they would have pre-packs.
G13, right?
It was some of the wildest fucking weed I've ever had in my life. Man, it was so crazy. It was like you take weed. I don't even know how they do this, but you take weed and you keep it the same, but yet it is the most strong, sterile stuff that you never put in your lungs, and it burns perfectly. It burns, I don't know. Government weed's fucking awesome, man. It is, or used to be. I don't know about now, but I know the stuff. I know the stuff they grew. They grow at those. See, there's like a couple of facilities around the United States that grow weed for the government specifically, believe it or not, and they harvest it and they reseed it and do experiments on it, and they got some massive crazy plants, and they've been doing that shit since fucking Nixon was in office. And they have a whole process, a whole thing set up that goes into the study of marijuana and the making of medical grade things for certain individuals. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, most people get close, but they don't get there. No.
Okay, you were talking about the what was it, the deadly sins or whatever it was called.
Yes. Well, not sins. I mean,
And you just call it the holy something.
yeah, and it burned out of my mind. It'll come back here in a minute. The holy cancers of society.
Mhm.
Now, the holy cancers of society is an interesting topic. I have not met a sole individual that does not worship something. Now, you can tell me you're an atheist. You can look at me and tell me you're an atheist. You can talk all day about there isn't a God or anything like that. or gods. But you do something every single day, or you say something, or you believe in a superstition, or whatever. But in order to believe in the things that you would have to believe in ghosts, aliens, demons, or there's not a God, there is a God, God is dead, whatever, you still have to believe in something. And you're still looking to something as a supernatural helper. We all get there.
No, not always a helper.
Well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe not an anti. I mean, I don't know. We're always asking some supernatural thing for some type of guidance or help. You know, there's sometimes we lay there and we something will go through our head and say, you know, out of desperation we might say, you know, there's something up there that would help me. It happens.
I don't think that anymore. I used to, but
no,
not anymore.
I'm not saying you think that anymore. I'm saying you have.
At one point in my life, yeah, because that's all I knew.
And these things create the individual who you are. But it's not just that. Our media. We worship our media. We worship the devices that feed us that memory, that media. We look at our phones. We look at our computers. We look at TVs. Since the implementation of TVs, the human consciousness has diverted itself and directed it at something that it believes to be more powerful than itself, because it doesn't have the ability to do the same things we do, but it can show us the things we want to do. We can also get on here and we can project ourselves like we're doing now. We treat media as a god, regardless if you say otherwise. Because you will look at your phone tonight. You will look at your phone now. You will look at your computer screen now. You're looking at something now as you're hearing this. Maybe it's a TV on the wall. And you do this to go watch the favorite things you watch, the favorite people you like to hear talk, the things that you like to hear them say. But yet we go there and we worship this object. We sit before it. Sometimes we're even on our knees in front of an object that is providing us with anything we want. I mean, sometimes an individual, the phone will be on there, and they will wonder if they should keep pushing the limit to look at the things they look at. The human mind wants more and more and more. And that's what we see. This is a cancer. In religion, you pray to something all the time. You ask something for something. In atheism, when you lie about it and you still do it. This is a cancer. These are the and it goes on and on and on. And these are the holy cancers of society. These are the things we need to break ourselves away from and take a hard look in a few years from outside the box. Aliens have now become a holy cancer of society. Drugs are a holy cancer of society. We treat these things as if they should be here. They belong here. We talk about them. We discuss them. Some people say, oh, we shouldn't use them, but they're using them to tell you that you shouldn't use them. But these are aspects and diseases and cancers, if you want to call them that are integrated into our society. They show us how we should think. Every time the government has a war, or another government has a war, not just ours, Sometimes I feel when we're doing stuff like this, because I'm in the United States, I'm talking about how shit works. And sometimes it feels like I'm pointing a finger at my own country. Now, that is not the case. I mean, personally, I think the United States runs the way it should run, based on all of the growing pains it has gone through.
It could have chosen a different path.
I mean, it could have, but I don't think it would have. There's no reason for it to. I mean, I mean, even like the people who said, okay, we should just go ahead and take over and take all the continents and make a greater Americas.
The Marshall Plan.
Well, yeah, the Marshall Plan, and I mean, in general, we probably should have to create this large, defendable strip of land, and everybody here could, travel, transverse, and, live this massive American dream.
Yeah,
and
the world.
Yeah, and now see, that's the thing is a lot of people don't get. All right, well, a lot of us that live in the United States take a lot of things for granted. We do. We do every day. During this World Cup, I have seen thousands of videos from people who live across the pond and in other countries. And keep in mind, there's probably somewhere, I don't have the numbers exactly, but, there might be 1 million that comes from fucking the UK. There's 1 million that comes from Australia. There's 1 million that comes from these other countries, and they're all coming to the United States. They're here now. And they're experiencing the things that we take for granted.
See, soccer is football.
Well, no, I'm thinking, but see, the whole thing is that we have to teach these individuals that soccer, if you're going to call it football, it's going to be Americanized. That's the thing. I think that if you don't stop calling soccer football, soccer is going to be Americanized to a point where it will become a indistinguishable an American sport, American-based sport.
I think America will bring the money, the advertising, and the glamour.
Well, that's what changes it.
Way more than Europe has. But as far as it's just like fucking hockey and the Canucks.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, hockey is a cool sport. I like to watch hockey. I do.
Yeah, but it's a Canadian sport.
But it is a Canadian sport, and I mean.
And we Americanized it.
We kind of Americanized it. By the way, we did beat Canada. We beat Canada in hockey. In case you don't know, we have beat Canada in hockey.
Hey, to all you Canadians out there, just a reminder, we beat you in hockey.
There used to be a thing, and this is not meant to be a racist joke. I knew this black man, and me and him used to hang out together. He sold moonshine, and he had one of those little box TVs. And it always amazed me. He just sat around. He reminded me of my grandfather in a way, except he was black. I mean, old dude, dressed the old way. Country as hell. Seen too much shit that he doesn't want to talk about, unless he gets drunk or smokes some weed. He grew some crazy dope. But we were sitting there, and this was around the time that I actually got into hockey, and we were talking about it, and he flipped it on. There was actually a game that day. He flipped it on that little box TV of his, and he says, "You know what? Black people don't play hockey." I'm like, "No, sir." he passes the jar of moonshine. And if any of you haven't ever had moonshine, real American moonshine, we use one of two things. We use rye or we use corn. Now, everything else that has been made, like apple shine and stuff like that, those are things that were developed along the line of moonshine making. But real shine is corn or rye. Those are the things that will drive your car. They're worse than Everclear. And you literally can go blind from drinking the stuff. But
Yeah, I was conceived.
yeah, I mean,
well, no, that's actually how my dad proposed to my mom, was over a jar of moonshine.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, a motherfucker puts a jar of moonshine in front of a woman and asks her to marry him. There's only one motherfucking thing on that guy's mind.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna. But yeah, I can see it. But yeah, he told me, he said that he said the reason black people at that time, he said the reason black people didn't play hockey was because the only thing that was on the ice that's black was a puck, and it gets the shit beat out of it.
That's funny. There's no racism in any of that. That's honestly, it's hilarious.
So. That was yeah, he's actually a person I miss. I mean, like I said, he was a great guy. He talked about some of that weird shit too.
Yeah. So is the media the only cancer, or do you?
No, you have religion is a cancer.
Yeah, but is politics considered a religion?
Well, no, politics would be in a different category. Because because politics is something that is pretending it's not, and it is.
It's a con artist.
It's a con artist. It's a lie. You know, and that's when you and like when you think about these, you know, politics and politicians and them being fucking aliens and demons and shit. Or just bad people in general. You know, that's what conjures in your head. You associate with that. But the thing is, there are some people, and quite a few, actually. You had the different groups and different, like, you had MAGA, and then you had these blue waves and red waves and
yellow vest.
Yellow vest, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. You had Black
Lives
Matter
and the Occupy Wall Street movement. You had which is what sprung MAGA.
But I mean, you know, these things are simply cults. You're in there. You're driving money. You're driving phones. You're running these things. You're worshiping these things. You're thinking about these things every single day. That's the thing. That's a cult. If you have to sit there and think about it, think about something that generally doesn't affect your life at all. The smartest person is the person who doesn't pay attention to the news. And the reason for that is because in reality, we all get accustomed to the things we do. We all get accustomed to the things we buy. We all get we create patterns, and we like patterns. Patterns are good. Patterns makes us feel wonderful. If there's a deviation from that pattern, it bothers us, and we don't like to be bothered.
Yeah, pattern interrupt.
And if you don't have a pattern of knowing the things that are going on, then you don't have a pattern that would affect you when things change, and you just go on and be yourself. But a lot of us can't get away from that. A lot of us have to figure out, okay, what is, you know, if am I going to cross my street today and that's illegal, or I'm going to buy a new stove, and oh Lord, I can't buy this stove because it uses too much power. Or I'm going to buy an air conditioner, and the air conditioner uses too much power, or it runs on a new type of gas or another type of freon that we can't use. Or they tell me I can't do the things that I've been doing. They shut down media. They stop us from seeing the things they want us to see. But which kind of brings us into today a little bit. I have been thinking about it every day. I have been going on with it, and it's been bothering me. It's been eating at me like one of these cancers. Like something that wants me to see something, and I am trying to look, and I can't see it. Every day I hear about aliens. Now, this is coming from somebody who likes aliens. I really do. I mean, in the concept that they exist, I don't want to meet them. But I think they're probably here or coming.
Why do you not want to meet them?
Changing my pattern. That's my point. That change in that pattern, that deviation, that I am going to have to accept the fact that there are people here from another space, another whatever, and I'm going to learn about that, and I am going to hear the stuff they say, or that our government tells us about them. And my mind is going to work the same way it works now. It's going to go through the numbers. It's going to go through the possibilities. It's going to come to the same solution that I come to regardless of what I talk about. These motherfuckers are lying. I know if aliens come down here tomorrow, if they stepped out and they said, okay, we're part of the group now. There's a fucking reason for it. And they're not going to give us the whole reason of it.
Yeah, that's my skepticism of the Meyer material. That's part of the reason why I read it.
I mean, that's why I'm skeptical of Meyer. That's why I'm skeptical now of the Bible. That's why I'm skeptical now of anyone who opens their mouth and says, "I know."
The reason why I'm skeptical of the Meyer stuff is because you got to realize they're doing a diplomatic mission, which is what they're doing with Meyer, but they're also doing other missions here, which may have ties to military in some form or fashion.
See, it's a fucking lie. They're not coming here in a diplomatic sense. That's the thing that I tried to hammer about the fucking Russian and Ukraine war, and going to battle with Russia and China. You do not build weapons. You do not go on diplomatic things. You do not set the board up where you want the people at that you want them at the time if you do not plan to use those weapons that you have spent millions of dollars on. There will be a war. It will be bad. But you do not build a bottle rocket unless you plan to light it. Somebody's gonna light one of them babies. China's new one, and to light one is to not blow it up in your backyard or on an island where the people want to think the sun is a god, but to actually hit a civilized place to show your dominance and force over them. That is the way. That is the character of man. It will always be that. That is the very reason why I believe a whole bunch of alien races got together and put us motherfuckers on this planet and trapped us here. Because we are bad. We are inherently evil. If you were to talk about the duality of men, You know, talk about this thing on the fucking wall back here. You know, good and evil. A good thing and a bad thing. Maybe we are what? Whatever supernatural, ominous thing that's in the universe. Nothing comes from. I mean, something always comes from something. Maybe we are the evil that was separated from God and put here in this prison. Maybe we are the inherent evil of something that thought it was good, that couldn't stand the behavior, the thought, the things that the human side of you would do. We're kind of like a conscience virus. You know, we were dumped down here. There's fucking monkeys hopping along, and we infected them, and we become what we are. I mean, I don't think we were evolved because, I mean, other than the fact that, you know, evolution may have happened after a certain trigger, you know, like monkeys become man and so forth. But I don't think we evolved here on this planet.
Some of us didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
This
you know,
planet did have humans on it to begin with.
I mean, maybe.
It
I
was
mean,
just
well,
interfered with.
there's one belief, but see, when I look at that, and I mean, it would be very hard to verify. When I look at my theory, when it comes to, you know, humans being here before us, type of humans, it sounds like it's a possibility. And originally we couldn't really argue that, but now we can because we have found like other versions officially of bipedal people, things that share no DNA with us whatsoever. So, yeah, we can say that sort of maybe. I need to go get a coffee refill. I'll be right back. Actually, yeah, I need a coffee refill. So,
All right. Well, when you're getting that coffee refill, I'm gonna offer the flip side. Okay. I think that okay. So they're talking about we have the Nordics and we have, which means that the Nordic population, which is the Caucasian race, descends from this Nordic race. And so what he's saying is there is a lot of truth to that. Each race comes from a different planet, um, you know, so on and so forth. But this we're not here. It's not a prison in the sense like, well, we're trapped here. It's more like there's something we've got to fix, and until we fix it, we can't do it, or we can't really expect to go interstellar. And a lot of it is we have to figure out how to govern ourselves and how to live peaceably amongst each other, and to be able to have a basic set of rules. And like, instead of all this, see, there what was it, there was a commune in the Ohio River Valley, and they wrote a letter to Jefferson, I believe, and they said, "Oh, this commune, we do great. We got all these rules, we got these regulations, just like what we have right now. It's basically the implementation of communism." And so Jefferson wrote back and said the great thing about the government that we have set up is, first of all, the closer you get to the coast, the bigger the population gets, the harder it is to manage it. You're in a smaller population, so it's easier to manage. The second thing is the states will pick it up and experiment. If it works well, then it'll be adopted by the other states through competition. If it doesn't work well, it doesn't infect the rest of the union. So I forgot what started me on that, but just I don't know. We as a people need to figure out how to get along. That's really what it is. You got to learn that a human being is a human being, and you got to learn to tolerate them no matter how much you dislike them. But you also have to have rules of respect that transcend anywhere in the globe. You know, like one thing that that transcends the globe is thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Those are two things. Even it's societal about building trust and not lying. These are the unwritten laws that transcend all cultures, all races, and all religions. Each one defines the ambiguity of when it's okay to lie, or it's okay to take a life.
But we
But
modify those.
yes,
We have been slowly modifying those things to a point where they don't mean the same thing anymore. Um,
yeah, just like the peace symbol, if you go back to its original implementation in paganism, and then being used by the nuclear non-proliferation marches in the 50s, and then the hippies picked it up and said it means peace, man, when it originally meant death to man, which is why it was originally adopted.
I don't know. I mean, they're sorry. I spazzed out. I went in there and made my coffee order, and I come back out, and I decided to go hit a cigarette, and I went outside, and the sky looks fucking bizarre, man. It looks weird out there. I mean, it looks so weird. Um, Everything's got like a weird color to it, like there's something in the atmosphere or something. I know it's getting late and the sun's going down, but man, it looks fucking bizarre out there. It's the first time I've noticed it, honestly.
I'm watching lightning bugs, the little light bugs that, yeah, they're cool. They come out right at the dusk.
Today I was hammering around a story about Washington. Yeah. I'm not ready to talk about it a lot, but I mean, there is an astounding amount of lightning strikes and weird fucking weather in Washington D.C.
Why do you say that?
Like right before the game, the thing they started, the UFC thing, there was this weird system that come up, and there's lightning strikes behind the White House, and the different things got modified, and I kind of wonder if we are not playing around with the weather a little bit during these events, because I mean, like right after that, we got this freak fucking storm that come flying through here. I don't know. I mean, would our government go that far to modify the weather for a theatrical?
No.
Are you sure? I mean, have we got there to that point?
You've got too many bureaucrats that dislike Trump that aren't. Today's his birthday. That's why it's a UFC fight.
Well, no, that'd be the reason they do it and use it and everything else.
Yeah, but
I mean, we have never seen anything like this at the White House, to be honest with you. I mean, when I saw the videos, I'm saying is that there's a lot of firsts that are happening in Washington, D.C. that has never happened before. Now, we are seeing things that has never occurred in Washington. And it will and is, they're doing it for a reason, or they're changing the very framework of the political system. And yeah, I mean, the thing they did at the White House, I mean, the next president will, in order, if we have another president, the next president will have to do something bigger. And then that president will have to do something bigger. And then that president will have to do something bigger. And Trump's not done yet when it comes to these things. And I mean, I just wondered if we go to that far where we modify the weather to create a look or an event I don't know. I don't know anymore. I mean, the thing is, when the technology is out there and it's in the realm of possibility, and I know we have it, I'm wondering if we're using it to do silly stuff like this. I mean, if they were to do that Project Bluebeam, they would have to modify the weather. They would have to change things. They would, to make you believe that the aliens have come here and they haven't. They're going to have to create weather events and physical events and things like that to get everybody's attention to look in the direction they want to. Don't look at this shiny coin. Look at this shiny coin. But I mean, that brings us back to Disclosure Day. We had two things that happened the same day. The Pentagon released its third batch of classified UFO files, 53 documents, 10 images, 6 videos, and 3 NASA recordings from the CIA, the FBI, NASA, and the Department of Defense. And then, or right around the same time actually, Steven Spielberg releases the film called Disclosure Day. Now, there's where you got to sit with, because you had two things about UFOs, the reality and the media, on the same day, creating a connection like never before. I have no idea. Oh, that's the other guy, I think. They said, quit, fix your mic.
What would I do?
It kept making some noises. Maybe where you're moving around and stuff.
Yeah.
But, the government chose that particular Friday to drop the most significant UAP document release since the program began. And on the same morning, the director of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., and Raiders of the Lost Ark, a man who spent 50 years making films about what happens when humanity finally confronts something it doesn't understand, puts his movie into theaters. Just as a disclaimer, I am not trying to drop any spoilers for the movie, so I hope I don't. I don't know. Sometimes I forget I write this shit in. Now, the Pentagon says it was a coincidence, and it was asked. We still have a few curious people within the Pentagon reading rooms and newsrooms. Maybe it was, but we were probably getting ahead of ourselves. Now, tonight we're talking about disclosure. The real kind and not the Hollywood kind. Thank you. So tonight is a line between those two things, and they get a little blurry. We're talking about a potato-shaped object hovering over one of the most fortified military installations in the United States, an orange mother orb launching red orbs over American soil, and the government that has now officially admitted it cannot explain 40% of what it has been seeing. Now, did our government just decide to go, well, I don't have no idea. I cannot. That is.
Have they disclosed Wendlesham Forest?
Huh?
Have they disclosed Wendlesham Forest?
They did. Well, oh, wait a minute. Okay, you're talking about the thing that landed in the United States. Yeah, they. Are you talking about the the UK one?
Yeah, the UK Air Force Base, yes.
The UK has released some stuff. UK UFO release UAP thing is extremely complicated. And, it gets downright confusing. I actually know a guy, cool motherfucker. He lives in a bunker over there in the UK, and he is was a professor. Like when you think of like the British professors, the crazy British professors, this is what this motherfucker looks like. And the wild hair, curly white hair and everything else. I mean, this is what this guy looks like. But he's also he went from doing what he was doing, and he is a filmographer now, and he likes to debunk a lot of stuff. And he likes to go into it. And he likes to talk about the patterns and things like that. Really smart guy. He's done a few movies. But he was talking about those cases and how complicated it gets to go in to research it. And he's the one that got me on to looking about all of the underground networks and caverns and bunkers and bases and stuff within the UK. It is absolutely mind-bending what is under UK. I mean, mind-bending.
From what way?
I mean, well, there's a lot, like they will build these tunnels going everywhere, all through, interconnected. Everything's interconnected under the UK, and most of it's military infrastructure.
And wasn't that like for the bombing raids during World War II?
Yeah, but they still use it. There's been people that's gone down into the old tunnels and they'll walk and go into the new ones and stuff, and they got freaking data centers, and they got offices and shit down there, and doing all kinds of crazy fucked up stuff. Man, it's wild. It is wild. They even say there's places down there, these red doors where they have like their Area 51. I don't know. I got hooked on the UK stuff there for a while.
I could see that.
But yeah. I mean, I think in that case that you guys are talking about, the guy either touched the device or he.
Yeah.
And he kept getting these
symbols
and code and everything. Didn't they take all that code and they put it into a program and it ran something?
I don't remember. I know Dan Aykroyd also talks about the Men in Black that we also hear about from Wendlesham Forest, as far as like the farmers and people that were told to shut up.
Men in Black stuff is weird.
Have you heard his story about Men in Black?
I think the men in Black might actually be Amish.
Amish? Why?
Yes. I know that's a hard one to swallow.
Why though? Like what's they don't have anything to do with anything. What the fuck?
Okay. The Amish is a select group of people. They have their ways and they have their things and they believe certain things, and I'm sure they know things. There's a reason why they do the things they do. And I mean, you can sit here and say whatever it is you want to say about them, but there are groups of them. The only kind of vehicle that the Mennonites can drive is these black
carriage.
No. The Mennonites can drive cars, but it has to be plain. It can only be black and chrome. And they drive the old ones. Like when you hear about the Men in Black conversations and the sightings and stuff, a lot of people focus on the people, but they don't focus on the vehicle they come in. And if you focus on the vehicle, you can kind of get a feel about who these people are. And one time I decided to take all of the cases and I started looking at the vehicles. And the vehicles were always black and chrome. Old. Just like the kind of cars that these people can only drive. Now, I'm not saying they're like your traditional Amish. I'm not saying they have the...
You think it might be one of their internal secret societies?
Yes, I do. They're collecting information. They're making sure certain things don't get out. It's kind of like some group or some aliens first line defense. Somebody said that they want you to share the stuff about Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. Okay, so you can find it on YouTube. That's actually where I watched it. But he was filming a one of his UFO shows, and the topic that he was talking about, I don't remember exactly what it was, but the topic that he was talking about, all of a sudden, a couple of men in black showed up, and his show gets canceled, and no explanation, no nothing.
I vaguely remember that. It's a good way to cancel a show that was probably overfunded. I mean, if you look back and you go back and you look, you can see a lot of shows like this and whatever offshoots of the X-Files you can muster up. The truth is out there, or this or that, or whatever. They all seem to get canceled. Any kind of supernatural idea seemed to get canceled. And we saw this for a long time. I think the TV show Lost changed that for us a lot. Because it brought in mega audiences, and they were able to drop supernatural things in there.
What's the one with the two brothers? Oh my God, I can't stand it. It's like all the girls are into this shit. It's the two brothers that are going around fighting demons.
I don't
Or it might be three brothers.
Oh, you're talking about Supernatural?
Yes.
Supernatural's fucking awesome, man. I don't want to hear it. It is.
I couldn't get into it.
It is amazing. I mean, they're actually they're getting ready to drop a season 13, I think it is. I mean, it's been off so long, and there are 20. I don't know. It's a big number, but they're gonna drop a new season.
It seems to be repetitive and too cinematic.
Well, they ended it. They ended the show. One of the brothers died, and all that stuff. And that's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But they just said they're doing one. They're working on one.
They tried that with Roswell. Did you ever watch the Roswell remake?
I did. Didn't like it.
I thought it was actually pretty neat. But see, it's like I grew up on, I got to see the tail end of Roswell when I was a kid, just like I got to see the tail end of Star Trek when I was a kid. I got into Next Generation, and I'm on that cusp.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, it was hard for me to watch the original Star Trek. It was. I don't know why. I like the newer stuff for some reason.
William Shatner just sucks.
Yeah.
I like Spock.
I don't know. I felt like, oh, this is what the old people watch. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
Now, we're also going to talk tonight about the people who are gone. Because while Washington was releasing files and Spielberg was holding a premiere, somewhere out there in the desert Southwest is a retired Air Force Major General who people have stopped kind of talking about, who commanded the country's most advanced aerospace research laboratory. A man who knew things is still missing. But yet, I don't hear many people talking about him anymore. I don't hear many people talking about some of the missing scientists and scientists that have passed away. We need to get to the bottom of that. He hasn't been seen since. He walked out of his house in Albuquerque and on February 27th, disappeared into the night. His name is William Neal McCassell. And he's not alone. Now, unfortunately, we need to talk about Pentagon's UAP disclosure website, or .gov/UFO. It has received over 1.7 billion hits since it launched on May 8th. The number alone tells you something. The public appetite for this information isn't casual. People aren't clicking out of mild curiosity. Something has shifted. The third one has something different. The third drop of files that were dropped Friday morning. Previous releases had included things like objects moving at impossible speeds near Navy vessels, UAP in proximity to foreign submarines. Those were cool. Silently hovering orbs caught on military sensors. The first batch covered more than 400 incidents across 162 files. The second batch included 51 videos. And as I said, the third drop of files, contained a potato. In 2024, 5 U.S. Army soldiers stationed near Cheyenne Mountain, the mountain that houses NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, arguably the most protected piece of real estate in the Western Hemisphere, reported watching something in broad daylight. They described it as a potato-shaped, distinctive edges. It was white. It had fish scale panels. What looked like articulating sections, almost like armor. Something translucent, a slight shimmer. There was no shadow. The object cast no shadow. The FBI investigated and found witness to be, and this is the official characterization, highly credible. The object has never and was never identified. Now, a potato-shaped craft hovering near the mountain that houses this command central designed to detect and respond to a nuclear first strike. That's an interesting detail on its own. But the same release included something from the director of the All-Domain Anonymous Resolution Office himself, AARO, the Pentagon's official UAP arm. In a report dated June 5th, the director described a sighting involving an orange mother orb. His language that was observed launching similar red orbs, multiple objects. There was behavior. The mother orb was controlling the smaller orbs. That was the command vessel. And then this number. He said 40%. 40% of all reported UAP phenomena per AARO own director, the guy who's supposed to disprove this stuff. He says it lacks a reasonable explanation and remains unresolved. The Pentagon's official UAP office is saying on record that nearly half of what they're tracking can't be explained. That's not tracking with me. The same release includes audio, NASA mission audio, including a 1962 interview between astronaut Gordon Cooper and journalist Walter Cronkite. Now, all of this other stuff, think of it as supporting evidence. They want us to know these things. They want us to know these bits and pieces, these additions to the story. They want us to see the things that they saw and that went along with it. They want This will be these UFO file drops. This is the backbone to the argument about whatever they think or want to say is coming. You don't spend this much money, have this much thing to try to get this out there to the public as fast and as possible as you can, and do what they have done here. Now, the Gordon Cooper is a name worth knowing. He was a Mercury and Gemini astronaut, a decorated test pilot, and one of the most vocal military figures to ever go on record about UAP encounters. He claimed to have witnessed a structured craft land at Edwards Air Force Base in 1957 with military personnel. Photographed it before it flew off at an extreme speed. He wrote about it. He testified to the United Nations, and he never backed down. That audio is now part of the official disclosure record. The government didn't just release documents. It released the words of a man who spent decades saying things that, until very recently, would have ended careers. The site also released images that the Pentagon describes as artistic interpretations of reported sightings, which raises a question, and I'm not going to let slide past me. Why, you might ask? If you have actual footage, actual photographs, actual sensor data, and we know they do, because some of it has already been released, why are you releasing artist renditions? What are you still not showing us? Think about that. The U.S. government is releasing pictures, artist renditions. The artists would have apparently seen the real ones, or whatever. They're not showing us the original pictures. There's something in the original pictures they don't want us to see. That you need to think about. You know, witness protection works kind of like this. You get in trouble, you rat on somebody, and they move you away to another state or whatever, change your identification, set up bank accounts for you, and take care of you for a little while. And they blur out your pictures and things that you may have seen. Maybe this is a type of witness protection for alien visitors. Maybe they don't want pictures of them out there because we might be able to identify them. So you have the artist blur the pictures and make them look more alien than they are. You make the things look more alien than they are. Or maybe there's something darker we can't explain. I'm not sure. But we need to talk about the pressure from above. While the files were dropping, something else was happening on the street. Our boy Tuck was there. David Grush, the intelligence whistleblower who went public in 2023, claiming the U.S. had been secretly recovering non-human craft for decades. He held a press
question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the Disclosure Project started in 2000 with Dr. Greer, Stephen Greer. Okay, why him and all the bullshit he's done hasn't gotten anywhere, but all of a sudden this guy drops out and it's like, hey, yeah, we're going to now roll over.
Well, David Grush, the other guy, Stephen Greer, I don't know. He was a doctor, more or less. But
yeah, but he had whistleblowers within all the
agencies. Now, he had whistleblowers, but David Grush is the whistleblower.
Yeah, the doctors could have done the same thing.
Yeah,
but
they could have.
Why? Why then? Why now?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Something has changed. Some dynamic has changed. Something about, like, I don't know, if you're going to sell something, if you're going to try to sell something to the public, you need to have the right person in there at the time. You need to have the right person, like, you know, when companies try different TV show commercials and stuff like that, and they're working on movie, sometimes they do these consumer tests. You know, they'll show one group of people one type of trailer, and they'll show another group of people another type of trailer, and they'll show another group of people another type of trailer. And sometimes we change the people within those trailers. And we do that to see what kind of response those individuals give to that specific person. Like if our main actor is running through and doing whatever, and people like the main actor, then we know it, and they talk about it, and it's in the questionnaire and stuff like that. They don't, then we know that we don't need to use that guy. Grush fit that bill. He fit the bill as a main actor. I never really understood that off terminology when it comes to like state actors and government actors and things like that. I never really processed it exactly the way I am now. Now when I see David Grush, I see an individual who was in the government system and he was privy to information that he wanted to talk about. I see an individual that, for the most part, believes what he says. I see an individual who has went above and beyond in protecting himself and his family. But I also believe that he may be, in part, fed additional information. He may be doing that for the greater good of America. I don't know. All I know is that I have learned a long time ago not to trust anybody. Be paranoid of everything. On islands, you do not know if the rocks are crabs. Crabs big enough to crush your skull. You might prop up, you might be a castaway and wash up on an island or whatever, being in a boat, sinks. And you lay your head on a rock. And at night, the coconut crab comes out. And, well, it's got food laying right there. I mean, that's exactly what they thought happened to fucking, the woman that flew the plane, Amelia Earhart. It is 108. I need to go get another refill. I'm going to be in the bathroom like crazy, and I'm going to smoke. Tuck, go ahead and do your segue if you want to. I'm going to go check on things real quick. We're at the hour mark.
Wow, okay. Hi, and welcome everyone. I am Friar Tuck, if you don't know who I am. I am Friar Tuck. I have a channel over here on YouTube. It's called The Epoch of Friar Tuck. I talk about homeless survival, education, and policy. So if you're interested in that type of topic, you should come over and check me out. I like doing this. This is fun. It allows me to talk about something other than homelessness because, that's pretty much all I talk about on my channel. So I really like doing this. So I hope to see you guys more often and more people come in and chat. Now, I don't get to read chat, but chat gets read to me apparently. So that's just something cool for you guys. I got to see RFK Jr. 2 days in a row. Today I got pictures of him. Not I got it on the back of his head, of course. I mean, he was quick in walking away. But the thing about RFK Jr. is that he apparently has a reputation for not making eye contact with anybody. I think it's a way for him to not, if he makes eye contact, that means he has to talk to you. And I think he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He just wants to go to, fro, and be left alone. So that's why, like, he never makes eye contact. He doesn't even do it with me. He looks at the dog, fucking gives her a treat, and just walks on. You know, I don't know, like, why he does that. Like, the fact that he carries dog treats with him. Maybe he walked by and I didn't notice him one day, and he's like, okay, if they're there again, I'll have dog treats with me. And so, like, he walks by a certain time in the morning, and I know, yeah. But it was kind of cool to see him. And then I met some people that were going to the UFC fight. Um, it's like the peasants, eat your cake, go watch it in the park while we millionaires sit there front row seat. Apparently, that some of these tickets were going for like $1 million, which is fucking crazy. And all of this is either going to the ballroom, or it's going to pay. It's going into Donald Trump's pocket. I mean, that's the only two places that money seems like it's going to go. But that's the on the ground report from Friar Tuck. So that's what I learned today. Some of the other stuff I can't talk about, just because YouTube censorship, stuff like that. I might for my viewers, I tell them anything that I can't say over on YouTube, I say over on Patreon, and this is going to be something that I do talk about over on my channel. So you should, if you're interested in stuff that, because I mean that's part of being here, and if you guys have questions and stuff like that, stuff you want, because like I'm sitting there, and yeah, I have a sign sitting out like I'm panhandling, but I've also got my power block. Okay, here comes the wind. We got a storm coming in, guys. So, in case I get quiet for a second. But anyways, you sit there. I'm sitting there with my sign, and I am, and I'm listening and paying attention to everything that's going around me. I'm meeting. I'm connecting with people. The sign is a conversation starter, and so like I'm sitting there as the guy blending in, and I have a couple of spots I sit, but I might be willing to mosey around if you guys inspire me.
I mean, I think you should. I think you should go and talk to him. Don't ask him about his friggin' um, taxidermy collection, though.
Why?
Well, you don't know then, do you? He likes to go. He likes to remove the willies from dead animals to compare them.
Has he publicly stated this?
Yes, he has. He's on a video. I mean, it's like one thing I want to sit down. I mean, part of me wants to sit down in a room and have a conversation with him about it. Another part of me does not. I mean,
I can see that.
you know, I know people do collect shit, man. They're crazy. I mean, I remember messing. I mean, I got a bunch of canes here, and there at the end, Grandpa had canes. He had one he had for a long time. And I grabbed it and I walk around with it and stuff. And he says, "You know what that is, right?" I'm like, "No." He said, "That's a bull's penis." And I looked down at it, and I looked at myself, and I looked at the thing, and that thing was as long as my leg. That was crazy. But I don't know. People collect weird shit. Do weird things with them. But we have learned to use every part of the animal to some degree for some reason, either scientific study, comparing or whatever. Hell, he might do a thesis on it. But we'll have to see. You should ask him.
You know what? I'm not going to, because I just don't have the attention span for something like that. I have enough. I have a hard enough time dealing with George Washington's phallic.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, like I said, David Grush, the intelligence whistleblower who went public in 2023 claiming the U.S. had secretly recovered non-human craft for decades, held a press conference on Capitol Hill on June 19th. He was flanked by bipartisan groups of lawmakers. Tuck was out there as well. Pretty damn close, actually.
Yeah, I could definitely tell. Oh man, that dude. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'll talk to you privately about
Yeah,
that.
okay.
But the girl you were telling me
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, you got some good taste.
Grush wasn't just making the usual case. He made a specific accusation that the Defense Intelligence Agency has been obstructing congressional oversight, that documents requested by lawmakers through lawful channels have not been fully provided. That's billions of dollars in classified spending that have been routed through what has been called slush funds, hidden from representatives and people who've been elected and who are constitutionally required to oversee them. The DIA did not commit or comment. The Pentagon's position remained unchanged. No verified evidence of extraterrestrial technologies, no confirmed crash retrieval programs, and yet the files keep coming. And yet 40% remains unexplained. And yet a bipartisan coalition of U.S. legislators have been standing next to a man in front of these cameras. And yet they get a movie. Now, I need to tell you about the scientists. I got stuck on this. I tried my best to climb out of this hole. Because there's something about it that doesn't make sense to me. The part of the story has gotten nearly the attention it deserves. Nearly. In part because an individual's case has been individually reasonable explanations, medical issues, hiking accidents, mental health crisis. But taken together, it starts to look like something different. William Neal McCaskill, age 68, retired Air Force Major General, MIT educated engineer, former command of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wake-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Wake-Patterson. If you're following this subject at all, you know the name. For decades, it has been the location of most of the UAP lore. The facility where, according to numerous first-hand accounts, and at least 30 deathbed confessions documented by researchers, recovered material from unexplained crashes were transported and studied at this location. The government has always denied this, but the rumors have never stopped. And the people making them are the kind of people whose careers depend on not being crazy and not opening their mouths. McCaskill didn't just command that facility. He directed the special programs for the office under the Secretary of Defense. He ran space acquisition for the Air Force. He held, by anyone's assessment, some of the most sensitive institutional knowledge in the American national security apparatus. On the evening of February 26th, he had dinner with members of the U.S. Space Force near Kirkland Air Force Base, itself one of the most classified installations in the country, home to nuclear weapons storage and a range of programs that don't appear on any budget you will ever read. A woman who was there told police He seemed spacey and quiet, not his normal self. The next morning, his wife left for a medical appointment. And in the 50-minute window she was gone, he walked out. He left his phone, he left his prescription glasses, he left his wearable devices. He took his wallet, his hiking boots, a red backpack, which we don't know what was in it, and a .38 caliber revolver in a leather holster. He has not been seen since. Ross, the guy you were talking about earlier, the investigator, a journalist, who has broken down more documented UAP stories than perhaps anyone alive at this point, who has his own show. I think it's called News Nation.
Oh, the guy I was talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy? I know nothing about him.
Well, I mean, he was like one of his peons. This is the big guy.
Wait. So the first guy I talked to, because I think the two of them were together, the nicest dressed one. So the first one, he was doing a podcast for himself, and the other guy was like, "Yeah, I'm Gaia. That's my mic. All this other stuff." And then there was a girl there too.
No, the guy that I'm talking about, his people were there, but he wasn't there. He is he started a show like a local show in Australia called News Nation. He's from there, and
yeah, I watched it many years ago on YouTube.
Yeah, he's still around, and he's still on it, and he reports on this stuff all the time. But he's so big, he's got people out. His people was there. I mean, that's where the majority of the media come from. Was from there. That was you, him. There was another that was live streaming it, but that was the only outside source media that I could find.
So there was two people live streaming it, or he live streamed it.
They live streamed it. You were live streaming it. They live streamed it. But like I said, there was like only 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah, they were jealous that I was doing it. They're like, "Oh, that was a good idea. I should have done it too." Oh well. I'm like, "Ha, motherfucker, point your shit to me."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny. They're like, he tells me that his people were looking at it and saw the back of his head on my camera. That's how I got introduced to him.
Huh.
So that's awesome. I don't know if they came through your feed or my feed.
I don't know. Easy, they saw it. But going back to Ross though. This is a man with some of the most sensitive secrets in the United States in his head because of all these people he's talked to. The timing is, relevant. He called it a grave national security crisis.
Why?
Well, because of all these things that are happening and coming out and people are seeing. And, but he's more specifically talking about the disappearance of the scientists.
Okay.
Now, he's calling this a grave national security crisis because of all the stuff that's in this guy's head, all the stuff that this guy knows, all the information that this man has access to, and he's gone. The sheriff's office out there, for its part, says that it has not developed evidence connecting McCaslin's disappearance to his classified work. His wife has pushed back on the UAP speculation. I am not saying he was taken. I am not saying anyone silenced him. I am saying he is gone, and the timing, just days after Trump's announced the disclosure program, is the kind of thing that would appear in a novel. Your editor would tell you to dial it back a little bit because it's too on the nose. But McCaslin isn't the only one. There was a 60-year-old aerospace engineer, director of materials for the processing group at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. She developed a specialized metal used in rocket construction. The project was U.S. governmentally funded. The project was overseen by William Nell McCaslin. She disappeared while hiking in the National Forest in June 2025. 9 months before she did, she was 30 feet behind her hiking companion, smiling and waving. Her companion turned around and she was gone. Her research team searched for days. Her body was never recovered. Until it was. Well, I think they did. There was an astrophysicist at Caltech. He collaborated extensively with NASA, known for work of searching water signatures around exoplanets. Shot to death on his front porch on February 16, 2026, 11 days before McCaslin disappeared. A man was arrested. No clear motives have been established. Two men apparently did not know each other. Then there was Amy, the plasma physicist. Same story. Left, walked out, only carrying a handgun and no identification. Gone. It sure sounds like somebody was blackmailing these people. You hear the movies, you hear all of the movies. I mean, you think about all the movies when it comes to blackmails. All the ones that I can remember. In the books. Someone's got something on you. Or they don't want you to say something. Or they're threatening you. Or whatever. So they tell you you need to meet them and you can't come with anything. But you know it's a setup. So you bring your basic stuff. But you always bring a gun. Something feels very, very, very off about these cases. 10 to 11 people. The Bureau is not calling it a pattern, not publicly, but they are looking for one. Now, what's actually been released and what hasn't? Let me bring this back to the files, because there's a question underneath all this, I think, that gets lost in the spectacle of the releases themselves. This is important. The question isn't what they're releasing. The question is what they are keeping. If you show me something, that's something you want me to see. I want to see it all. I'm greedy. The NSA, in May of this year, released more than 300 pages of formerly top secret umbrella records. The highest classification level routinely assigned to signal intelligence. This was the first time material at that level has ever been publicly released in connection with a UAP. And what did it contain? Well, we're still going through it. But Jerry Cabell.
What was the classification?
Umbrella.
Umbrella is the highest classification you can get.
That we know of. Umbrella is, or Umbra is the highest classification. I've heard it called both. Is the highest classification that a document can have. Put it this way, the President of the United States has to get Umbra or umbrella clearance. He has to. I mean, he doesn't walk in with it. He has to get it. Sometimes I don't get it.
What do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean sometimes they don't get it?
Well, sometimes the President of the United States does not have this type of clearance needed to see the things that are going on. You can only hear rumors.
Okay. So, like, that prevents the president from doing his job.
These are things that have yes or no. It's on the need to know. It's like, I can tell you, I mean, like if you didn't have, like if you were the President of the United States and didn't have Umbra clearance, I mean, I couldn't tell you that there was a swarm of aliens surrounding this planet until it was need to know, till the fact that they might actually be attacking the United States.
And so that's pretty much where all presidents fall.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
they never get the top.
They never get it. Because if they did, I mean, there's a, there's a lot of responses that they could do, that might be willy-nilly or something. There's certain things in place to protect other aspects of it, because if a president was to be told something that is insane, and he responds to it somehow, that we have to, then you have a domino effect which cascades throughout the political system. And that's what they're trying to avoid, I think.
Is Donald Trump going for that, and so therefore they're releasing it instead?
Yeah, that could be. Or he may have.
Well, they could just deny him.
Or he may have done something and got access to these records and this information and this intelligence, and now he's saying, "Well, we need to release this now." I mean, they could have actually come around and actually told him, like, maybe he has enough support. See, that's the thing. You can win the presidency, but you don't have everyone's support. And until you get the majority of the government on your side, there's still going to be bits and pieces that you get slowly or whatever. It could be as simple as the fact that finally now everybody in these organizations and groups are aligned with the same ideologies, and they're releasing that information for whatever purpose they might be. I don't know. But it's also still weird. But like I said, we're still going through the documents that they released, and we're talking well over 300 pages. Jeremy Corbell, an investigator filmmaker, that's the person I think that you saw, who was that has sourced more leaked UAP media than perhaps anyone in the civilian world, and has been clear these releases are not good stuff. The government possesses far more significant evidence than what's being shared. So what's being played? What's the play here? I've been talking about this, rambling on. So here's my read of it. You release enough to satisfy the public demand for transparency. You release enough that Congress can point to something and say, see, we're doing it. You release the potato-shaped object over Cheyenne Mountain because that's alarming but not clarifying. You release the orange mother orbs with the red suborbs because it sounds fantastic enough that a portion of the audience will dismiss it. You release Gordon Cooper talking to Walter Cronkite because Cooper's dead. And dead man can't be pressured into expanding on what they said. You control the drip. You flood the zone with enough genuine strangeness that the public is overwhelmed rather than informed. 1.7 billion hits on a government UFO website. I'm going to say that again. 1.7 billion hits on a government UFO website. The fucking government has gone viral. And while everyone's watching this spectacle, while everyone's going to those files, while everyone's downloading this stuff and viewing it and setting it up, nice interface, by the way, that seems to be attractive. I know I spent one night looking through them. The people who actually knew things are walking into the desert with a revolver and not coming back. Let me say that again. While everyone's watching the spectacle, while everyone's going to these websites and looking at all this data that we've been so curious about for years, going to the movie, any other stuff like that. The very men and women who knew about these things walked out into a desert with a revolver and hasn't come back. There's only one thing that pops in my mind. Well, maybe a few things. I don't know what happened to that general. I know I feel for his family. I don't know what happened to Monica, but I feel for her family. Or why she was taken. Or to simply cease to exist in the forest 30 feet from someone who loved her. I don't know what the potato-shaped object was, or the mother orbs, what that mother orbs were doing, or why 40% of what our government's own UAP office is tracking cannot explain. What I know is this. On the same day the Pentagon releases its most significant UAP document to date, a man who had spent 50 years making movies about contact puts his latest film in the theaters. Was this coordination, coincidence, or something in between? I generally cannot tell you. What I know is that disclosure is happening on someone's terms, and those terms are not ours. Someone decided what you get to see and when you get to see it. Someone decided which files stayed classified and which one became headlines. Someone decided that a retired general's disappearance would be treated as a silver alert rather than a national security event. There's somebody out there in the mountains of Albuquerque. There may be a man who knew exactly what's in the files they're not releasing. He took his guns with him, and he walked into the dark. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Paranoid Times, and the truth is weirder than fiction. I don't know why I keep getting messages.
Oh, you got people chatting?
I mean, I keep getting, like, all my phone keeps blowing up over here for some reason.
Oh. Well, you're a very important man.
Yeah, maybe.
So, so you still haven't figured out the whole, or are you saying that they're just doing a slow drip to fucking, just to satisfy the masses so they can go back to normal?
I'm saying the people who knew what we don't know, what we weren't shown, are the people who went out into the desert alone with a handgun and hasn't come back yet. I'm wondering if those people saw something they couldn't comprehend and it broke them completely. No, I think that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they saw something. They saw that. That's the thing. That's one of the things that happened to people. Let's say you spend your life working on something. Let's say you spend your life looking and researching things and hunting things down and talking about things and going. And you're finally, and it's a big thing too, and you finally discover it. And it is worse than you thought it was, or it's better than you thought it was. For a moment, you break down. It's just the way our human mind works. And if it's real bad, if it's stress, if it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Traumatic. Sometimes the human mind can't come back from it. Like everything you believed is shattered. And I think these scientists knew that this was coming and knew that something is coming. And they've been working on it for so long. They know the worst parts of it. And they just didn't want to deal with it.
And they don't want to tell.
No. Well, they don't want to deal with it. They can't tell. They want to tell, but they can't tell. You know, if they tell,
going out,
you know, if
they're getting offed.
You know, like something like the thing that is coming for them, whatever it is worse than the thing they would be asked about, and they know it.
Unless the DIA is just sitting there saying, well, we need to keep this information quiet, gone.
They could do it other ways. I don't know, but
yeah,
I mean,
the government tends to be sloppy when it's trying to cover shit up.
I mean, maybe. I know they've been working really hard on things, and this release of information is concerning in the way things have been going about, and nothing ever happens like whenever we go to war. It never happens the way it's supposed to. It's always messy. There's like little deviations. And if you look at this as the same, if you look at, you know that this is a military strategy because what they intended to do and what has been happening has been deviating off course. And that much I can guarantee know that this disclosure, this basic idea of disclosure, is based on some military idea that's been in the works for a while. That much I do know. But the end part of it, you know, like the scientists and stuff, that's the deviation that should have happened. The rest of it, I don't know.
I still stick to my guns that this is how they're going to unveil all the military hardware that they've been hiding for years, because we're probably going to have to use it in the next World War.
Well, I get that. That's fine. That would be fine. If you come out and say, "Well, we invented a bunch of new military stuff, and we're going to,"
well, they have to close the gap in how the technology was found.
Yeah, but if they're making up this big story to say how they got it, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
no, they're not making up the story. They're just letting out enough so that they can sit there and say, "Yeah, this is why we have this technology, and we've had it for years," so that people aren't, so that they're not sitting there trying to rewrite history and shit. So it's like, okay, so we are about ready to come out with and unveil this for the next war. We need to let our people know so that we can eventually say that these are ours.
If you know we did that, if you know before, you know, the whole ringamaroo here, they've been doing it this long. But if you knew of it, if you knew ahead of time, they've been doing that. I mean, how would it affect you? I wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, but
I mean, it wouldn't affect my life any. It wouldn't affect your life any. We just know there's just fucking shit we don't understand.
Well, they could have blamed it on AI for all I care. But yeah, I mean, I just think that they have to be able to draw a line so that people know where it came from. So that they're not sitting there thinking, oh, I don't know. There's got to be I think there's a military angle to all of this. I think that this is all this what we're seeing in the public is kabuki theater. Because if you remember, what's his name came out a couple years before, Lou Elizondo.
Yeah.
He tried this, and you know it went quiet after a couple of years. He tried doing the same thing. Now they got a new guy that's better for PR. So hey, let's go with him instead.
I mean, he's part of the whole discussion too. I mean, I've seen everybody. I have seen everybody come forward and talk about this, and has been to some degree. All I know is that everything that's happened is extremely curious. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why they would let this stuff is just circling around itself right now, and you know these kind of things are coming out. And I mean,
So we're
if you really look
experiencing
into it, I mean, there's like other little weird things. You know, this was another story, and you know, like with Fable and stuff, we're actually learning that consciousness isn't what we thought it was.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole science that's going to develop around it.
Oh yeah, yeah. This whole thing is
And
bloody
I think
bizarre.
that's going to lead to reincarnation being
And
scientifically proven.
and what makes the whole alien thing weirder too is now they're releasing stuff about that 3-eye atlas. I mean, for the most part, I got a full update on it, and they were saying it was releasing methane and stuff, and they had our government has like alien scans and things, so they knew that this thing was not what it was. They were trying to sell it as.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway, you're yawning. I'm pretty much done with tonight, so see you guys tomorrow.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Huh?
No. I mean, it's late. I always yawn. If you still want to go, I'm good. But if you
No,
wanna go,
I gotta go stretch and go check on the kid and everything. We're at 15 till, but we'll go ahead and cut it tonight. I'll have a longer one tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Stay paranoid, people.